Welcome back to Halloween Horror Reviews 2024. Guys, Halloween Horror Reviews 2024 just came and went like the speed of light, and I have been having such a great time covering horror-related content for y'all this month, and genuinely, guys, from the bottom of my heart, and I'm gonna say this tomorrow, by the way, but still, nonetheless, genuinely, guys, I really hope y'all have been having a great time watching these series reviews, because I've been having such a great time making them for you all this year, and man, I cannot believe that we're already at the second to final review for this year's reviews before we go on to our last review for Halloween Horror Reviews 2024. For today's review, this is a video game that I have been wanting to cover for a very long time, because this is a game within, come on, let's be real. If you've seen the title of the thumbnail, you'll know what I'm talking about, but still, nonetheless, I just want to build up the tension, the suspense, because I just want to do it. For today's review, I'm here to talk about 2002's Resident Evil 0, the prequel to 1996's Resident Evil. This is the game in the franchise that I think does not get a lot of love. It doesn't get any love, because anytime I hear someone talk about this game, I always hear just negativity about this game. And actually, fun fact for you guys, Resident Evil 0, as far as more, was my first game of the Resident Evil franchise. So for that specific reason, this game has always had some sort of sentimental value to me. But besides that, I do genuinely think that this is, well, I'm just gonna say it, a great Resident Evil game. In Resident Evil 0, we follow Rebecca Chambers along with Billy Cohen as they explore an abandoned training facility for the employees of, you guessed it, Umbrella, along with the horrors inside. Before I continue on with today's video, I just wanted to say welcome to my channel, everybody. For those of you who are coming by my channel for the very first time, be sure to hit the subscribe button to them. It's a future video, it's a future review, a reaction, a top 5, or whatever I've coming your way, and join me on my journey to 10K subscribers and beyond, because believe me when I say this, guys, you are not going to miss the cool stuff I have coming your way. And for those of you coming back to my channel, by the way, welcome back, guys. You have no idea how happy I'm to see your faces once again. And let's start our conversation below. What do you guys think of Resident Evil 0? Do you happen to be a person like me that really likes this game, or happen to be someone that does not like this game at all? Let me know below. Like I just mentioned, Resident Evil 0 for me is a game that I always constantly find myself defending, and for this video, I'm going to explain why I feel that Resident Evil 0 to me is the most underloved game of the Resident Evil franchise. Starting off, the first thing I gotta talk about, and this is the most no-shit Sherlock statement when it comes to this game, the graphics. This is a game that, if you ask me, by the way, no kidding, guys, over 20 years later since this game's release, especially playing on a PS4, that this game still looks good. Resident Evil 0 to me still is one of the best looking games of the franchise that I personally feel, especially in terms of its graphics and art direction, has only aged like a fine wine. And also, not to mention as well, specific bits where the game has great sense of lighting and, most importantly, atmosphere. At least in my personal opinion, Resident Evil 0, in terms of its atmosphere, has some of the best atmosphere of the entire franchise. This is a game that, especially, by the way, once you go into the abandoned training facility, it is a game in which it just not really quite overwhelms you, but you get engulfed in this haunting atmosphere with, by the way, a great musical score, to which I will get onto later on. This is a game that, in terms of its atmosphere, it still holds up brilliantly. One of the things that I must talk about is the horror-related aspect of this game. Is Resident Evil 0 scary? In my personal opinion, oh yeah. This game still freaks me out to this specific day. This is a game that, by the way, I've heard the rumors, I think it's been confirmed that they're going to remake Resident Evil 0. This is a game that, if the rumors are true, I am so excited to see how this game will do with the built from the ground up remake, because Resident Evil 0, in terms of its atmosphere, I can only imagine walking on the training facility, just not only engulfed of the brilliant atmosphere of this game, but not to mention as well the sound design of the game. There are times this game, especially in my recent playthrough, which by the way you're seeing captured on the monitor in front of you, I mean whatever you're watching this on anyways, my most recent playthrough still scared the ever-living shnikes out of me. But when it comes down to the sense of the haunting atmosphere, the tone, and the scares of this game, there are parts of this game where something will just come out and holy shit, it would still freak the hell out of me. This is still easily to this day, at least in my personal opinion, in terms of the horror aspect, especially a Resident Evil entry that does not get enough praise. I'm going to say that once again. Something else in particular that I want to talk about that I quite like, and it's an element of the game that I have found that people either really like or people heavily dislike, but I quite love this element of the game, and that's the partner system, or I should say, I like this element of the game about 75% of the time, and I'll explain the remaining part of that con later on once it gets to the issue. But anyways, the partner system of the game I thought was very unique. Not only did I find that the partner system not only added elements of strategy to see which character should take specific beans, knowing the character's strengths and weaknesses, but not to mention as well, I honestly found that the partner system I thought was genuinely a great way to not only add suspense and strategy to the game, but also not to mention as well, depending on who you're playing as, it either adds a lot more tension to the game, knowing in which a specific partner can go to a certain area, and would only either add as a detriment to the game, or it would only enhance and make things just that much scarier. So, like for example, there's a bit in the train part of the game where one of the characters you can choose to go on this train and be essentially logic confinement on a train part, and you get to either choose Rebecca or Billy in this case, and depending on who you choose, the next let's say 45 minutes which you're going to play are either going to be easier or they're going to be harder. By the way, pro tip for you guys, choose Rebecca to be logic confinement because Billy is the one you're going to go with. I'm just telling you if you want to avoid a major headache. I'm just saying. Not only it's very unique, but it does add a level of very cool strategic elements to this game. This specific thing is one of my favorite aspects about Resident Evil 0, and that is the soundtrack and or the score, the music of the game. Resident Evil 0's music is, at least in my personal opinion, once again amongst the stronger entries of the music for Resident Evil. Specifically, guys, the musical score when you're exploring at least the entry bits of the training facility, this particular bit is easily, in my personal opinion, amongst the best that Resident Evil has to offer in terms of music. And just to show you how much I love this score, I'll even play you a few seconds because it is genuinely that great of a score. Listen to this, guys. One more particular thing that I gotta talk about, and this is one of my favorite aspects about this game, that's the character of Billy Cohen. Billy is such a freaking badass, and I am shocked that Billy has not been seen in another Resident Evil game. Like, this is such an underrated character. Bring back Billy. What an awesome freaking character. He's so cool, guys. Capcom, bring him back. What are you doing with him? Bring him back. I think Resident Evil 0 is such an underloved game of the franchise. Absolutely, I will say that to this day. But I will say this. Are there still issues with this game that hold it back from being one of the greatest Resident Evil games of the franchise? Unfortunately, yes. There's a particular thing that this game does with the leeches. While I understand why this thing was done, at the same time, the reason why this is all happening, especially with the leeches and the person who's controlling them, I still think to this day, really? The concept of this character is really, really cool, especially with the opening. I mean, the opening of this game is awesome. I don't know why I just didn't buy it, and it's maybe still keeps me thinking, really? Something else that I mentioned in my pros, and I must mention here in the cons, and that is the partner system. The partner system, I would say about more than the majority of the time, is really, really cool. But at the same time, I will say that there are times where that system can be really, and I mean really freaking annoying, especially when it comes down to the inventory management. The inventory management for this game, especially when you use the partner system, can be a bit of a pain in the ass. There are times in this game where let's just say, for example, that you'll need a certain item to either beat a certain boss or just to get further in the game. And let's just say, for example, you leave one of your characters behind because they know that they might not be the most helpful to you, but you choose another character, you get to that bit, and you forgot that that other character has that thing that you want, or what the thing that you needed was in the middle of the training facility. Guys, this thing happened to me so many freaking times in this game, like I cannot tell you right now. The last thing that I gotta talk about here are the controls. This is the one thing that I actually will agree with, especially in times where you're in a very critical moment, especially in combat or just an action period. There are times the tank controls, yeah, they can be a huge, and I mean a huge detriment. And once again, that just makes me reiterate, if this is a game that is confirmed to have a built from the ground up remake, I cannot wait to see what they do to improve the controls, because man, this is a game that I feel like will even be better with updated controls of, let's just say, the Resident Evil 2, 3, and 4 remakes. So overall, Resident Evil 0, at least in my personal opinion, is not only the most underrated game of the franchise, but at least for me, it stands amongst the stronger entries of the Resident Evil franchise. Resident Evil 0 does have its fair share of flaws, but when I look at all the pros this game has to offer, at least for me, Resident Evil 0 is a game that deserves so much more love. All in all, I'm going to give Resident Evil 0 an 8 out of 10. Guys, give this game a shot. It is a great freaking game. I hope you enjoyed my review of Resident Evil 0. If so, please hit the like button, or if you dislike the review, hit the dislike button. If you guys want to see my previous 2 reviews, please click to the left or right side of the screen. And of course, until my next review video goes live, I will see you all next time.